So first, just recently, we have ABN AMRO Bank, which actually back in April, technically, they said, oh, as of, I don't know, maybe it was before that, but they said like as of April 1st, or basically soon, you can no longer get deliveries, demand delivery of precious metals, namely gold. So if you have any paper accounts here, they've got to be settled before such and such date, or you get settled in paper money, basically, for whatever you've got in gold. So they gave them up until a date to do that. That wasn't all that long ago. So now, as of, I think yesterday, and matter of fact, before that, about a day or two before that, there was a guy talking about how he's quite sure that the reason the price smashing of gold and silver has occurred in, you know, the last couple months or whatever, was because they didn't want these other bullion banks to fail like ABN AMRO did. AMRO. And that was part of the key reason that they had to bring the prices down. And he goes into detail. There's a video over on silverdoctors.com or of his interview or whatever. Can't remember if it's video or audio, but you can go listen to it where he talks about it. But the point is, it makes sense. And now, a day to 2 days later of him making that comment, that I saw it on Silver Doctors, this other bank, what is it, Rabo Bank, something like that, because I like RoboCop, RoboBank, you know, too big to fail, RoboBank. Rabobank has also just issued its clients the same thing, and they're giving their clients, I believe, till September 1st. And as of September 1st, you will no longer be able to demand delivery of bullion products. Gold, again, is mentioned. So while that's happening, you can, and I've said this a ton of times anyways, I'm sure you already know this, but gold is leaving the Western world in an absolute hurry. And we're just pretending like everything's fine. Oh, you want your gold? Fine, we'll give it back. Okay, no problem. No problem at all. And meanwhile, the eastern nations of the world, which is where the wealth is now going, which also means the superpower, financial powerhouse, etc. of the world will be the eastern nations, this time in, as history repeats. Kind of like the Roman Empire. Well, the Roman Empire is now switching gears toward the eastern nations. And they're leaving the former Roman Empire, you might know as the United States of America, to crash and burn like the real Roman Empire did in 2,000 years ago. Again, it's all history, it's all cyclical. So, cycles repeating. You can argue and say no and fight it tooth and nail all you want. There's nothing you can do other than prepare for it. Because once it comes, you can't prepare for something once it's here. And that preparing is right now looking at the price of gold and silver, listening to every mainstream media bozo idiot tell you, we told you the bull run in gold and silver was over, and look at the prices now, it's down, it's finished. Meanwhile, quietly, again, the eastern nations are piling unbelievable masses of precious metals. And again, now, as I said the other day, India has switched gears from massive gold imports to all of a sudden opening the door up for massive silver imports. Imagine that. So I watched a documentary the other day. I remember seeing it come on the TV in a commercial, The Secret World of Gold or something like that, and they showed some previews. And they had guys like Eric Sprott and the guys from GATA. And I'm like, man, that sounds like I might want to watch that. So I set it to record, and then I forgot about it. And then looked a few days ago, it was like, actually I think last Friday, and let's see what I had saved recorded. Oh, there's that show, yeah, let me watch that. So I'm watching it. They actually show Andrew Maguire, because I know a lot of people in the silver community have thought that guy who was the whistleblower on JP Morgan rigging the market on silver, he's the one that blew the whistle to the CFTC, was in contact with them live while they were going to smash the price of silver to show them, I can tell you who's doing it, when they're going to do it, and how they're going to do it at the exact moment they're going to do it. So the CFTC at that point was backed into a corner. Now you got to say you found something. You got to, because you just got shown that someone's doing it, and that someone's JP Morgan. So the silver community says, oh, we've heard about this, but we've never seen the guy. Is he really Andrew Maguire? Is he real? You know. Well, sure, he's real. He's even done some interviews since that time, and has recently was on this show, this gold, the Secret World of Gold, talking about what made him want to blow the whistle. And he said, you know, I'm sitting there knowing these guys are doing it, seeing them do it over and over and over again, watching them on, you know, Friday night, markets are closed, they're going out drinking $1,000 bottles of champagne, of how good they did today and how much money they made. When in reality, he said, you got to understand something. There's always two sides to a coin. So this guy, or these groups of people over here working, again, for JP Morgan, are out here making that kind of commissions and money so that they can go have fun and buy $1,000 bottle of champagne to celebrate like they did a good job today. So you got to understand, there's someone on the other side of that. Where'd that $1,000 come from? That means someone had to lose $1,000 for them to get it. He says, I couldn't take it anymore. It was wrong. It's so wrong. I couldn't take it. So I blew the whistle. And it also goes to show, I think even MF Global, I think it mentioned MF Global and how the allocated account things, and how they said if you think you have an allocated account or you think you better get your gold out now while you still can. It was actually a very good show. So I was pretty impressed with that, to tell you the truth, and I learned something that I actually have never, ever come across or known in all my years of an understanding of the gold and silver markets and that kind of thing. Now, as you all know, the first person in line to request that the Western nations, both America, because these are the two nations you're going to hear over and over again, America and London, is where all the gold is stored for the world. And I said, you know, why in the hell are all these countries on the face of the earth, even countries that don't even necessarily like us that much, why in the hell would they even dare store their gold with us? Or London, in London. Like, why would you do that? It's just stupid. And I thought to myself, well, it's because they have a central bank, like we have a central bank, and there's probably a real good chance that the person running their central bank is in cahoots with the rest of the central banks, basically is a member of the club, and the club says you got to have gold in our secure possession in America and over in London. So they say, okay, of course, because you give us this nice job over here in the central bank of such and such country, so we'll go ahead and do what everyone else does and just store our gold elsewhere, which included Mexico, India, you know, everybody. And I found out by watching that show, The Secret World of Gold, or The Secret History of Gold, something like that. I think it was The Secret World of Gold. And I found out. They said, you know, when old Chavez from Venezuela, he was the first one to say, hey, we want our gold back. And he actually went on TV in his own country, you know, hey, everyone, the president's speaking, it's important, and everyone did. Everyone listened. Which is amazing, because when they showed clips of him giving the speech, I don't think I had access to that in America. I didn't see that on any mainstream media. I didn't even see it on alternative media in America, where he actually said this. And actually, I could go watch the video, even though it would be in Spanish, you know, where even translated or just not, I could not find it. I didn't even know it existed until I saw this documentary the other day, The Secret World of Gold. And he went on to say how important it was that every country, and for his purpose, his country, Venezuela, have their own gold in their possession rather than elsewhere because of times of uncertainty that could be coming. And it'd be a real good idea to have your own gold in your country. So Venezuela is going to do that and is requesting it back. And once they got it back, they paraded it through the streets in armored vehicles. The whole freaking country basically showed up. Cheering, screaming, happy, yeah, he was showing the gold off to some people, you know, on TV and just big bars and everything. The people loved it, were cheering him on. But I could have sworn old Chavez was a dictator that needed to be overthrown eventually. Why are those, you people get back in your house, don't you come out there and cheer him on? I thought you don't like him. I thought, my country tells me that you guys don't like him and other dictators like him and he needs to be overthrown ultimately. So don't you dare come out and cheer and be happy for the guy. Oh, but then again, I didn't know that as an American. because America didn't show me that. All America shows me is this guy's a dictator, he ain't no good. So, kind of like Gaddafi of Libya. Same story, except not gold, but they did get his gold too, by the way. Anyways, different story. So, secret world of gold. And then it went on to show how Germany has now stepped up after Hugo Chavez, saying, hey, we want our gold too. And our response to Germany was, hey, we'll see in about 7 years. You'll get your gold in about 7 years. And it went to show you how they've lent all this gold to basically the bullion banks. And the bullion banks, of course, lend it out. And they ain't got it. So they don't have it to return to the central banks. And you got to understand, there was a comment, not Ben Bernanke, but one of the heads of the Federal Reserve, or maybe it was in one report that they released, like on accident, back in the 90s, I think. And it opened up the whole world to view what was going on when they first talked about gold swaps. First came up, what is a gold? What do we mean in gold swap? What is a gold swap? And ultimately, the central bank, our central bank, leases out gold. And if they're leasing out gold, they're leasing it to the bullion banks. And if the bullion banks are in turn leasing it or selling it to other interested parties, which you can imagine who those are, the club, the elite, the guys with the billions of dollars, they won't be returning it, and the bullion banks won't have it, and the bullion banks won't be able to give it to the central banks of the world, and including our own in America, and they're going to be left with an empty bag, which I think is going to be filled with what the Webbot said would be coming in mass, which was massive tungsten-filled gold bars. They look like gold on the outside, because there's a thin layer of it, but on the inside it's filled with tungsten, because tungsten and gold basically weigh about the same. So a 400-ounce bar of mostly tungsten with a little chocolate flavor, glazed chocolate flavor of gold on the outside, they're hoping will trick people. I'm going to tell you now that that's where this is going to go. Again, thanks to the Webbot, that's where this ultimately goes when the central banks don't have it and the people of the world demand saying, hey, where's our gold? They'll all turn up and say, here it is, settle down, we told you we had it. It's right here. And then what I'm assuming is going to happen is that there will be demands to verify that that gold is definitely real, full, solid gold. And thus some samples will be taken, drilled through, and oh my God, what is that other metal coming out of there? It's not gold. Oopsie. Where did the gold come from? And then there'll be the scramble of the central bankers and the bankers themselves scrambling to hide and cover that up. And we had a small office fire. We don't know where the gold went. We had some paperwork that showed where we got it from at the time. And of course, the American people in this instance, or other countries, doesn't matter, will ask their government, why do you have to have paperwork showing where the gold came from? Didn't we already have that gold? Hasn't it been stored in Fort Knox forever? Oh yeah. Well, no. Central banks have been known to lend it and swap it with each other and that kind of stuff, but then we get it back. And that way we can open up lines of credit and this, they'll try to play that off. But the problem's going to be America will have that. Let's just say America has the tungsten bars, Germany will have tungsten bars, other countries will have tungsten bars, and everyone's going to say, well, if all these countries have been swapping it, someone did a switcheroo, correct? Someone must have done a huge switcheroo, which is basically impossible for one country to be responsible for doing the switcheroo on the whole world's gold. And since the United States of America and London were the ones who've been storing all this gold all this time, making other countries store all their gold there, well, guess we know who did it. Yeah, I hate to say it, the old freedom fighting America, the good guy isn't quite the good guy. London, our ally, them two, they're not the dynamic duo of superheroes. They're the ones who've been doing it. And I think that'll come out. Now, kind of back where I left off about one thing that I didn't know had been happening, and behind, how all these countries decide to just give their gold to America and London. This is what I learned in that documentary. In order to secure IMF/World Bank loans and be part of that system, you must, as a country, give your gold for storage purposes only, to the Federal Reserve of the United States of America, and or, usually both, the bullion vaults in London, which is, again, the same system. It's the same thing. So then, once your gold has been secured from your country into America or into London, again, most times both places, then and only then is your country now creditworthy to the rest of the world and can play the game. You're now a member of the world. You can have fun and get loans and everything else. That's what also I believe Hugo Chavez mentioned. But that is what I learned by watching this documentary. That if you want to play the world game with other countries financially, and trust me, you do, you got to give us your gold. We're just going to store it for safekeeping. So, is it maybe possible that this whole time we do have the gold? Oh, we've got it. The elite have it. And they've been quietly slicing off just little teeny tiny amounts of real gold off of that massive pile they've accumulated from the world, so that they can coat the tungsten bars for the day, when the day comes, which they already knew would be coming, and it's here now, where other countries start demanding, we want our gold back. And it might be possible that the world is now demanding that they want their gold back out of the vaults of the Federal Reserve and in London a little too soon than what the powers that be had anticipated. Which is why they had to tell Germany, hey, we'll see you in 7 years with your gold. You guys got quite a bit. We'll give you 50 tons right off the bat, and then the other, 500 tons or whatever it was, we'll give you over a period of 7 years from now. So in like 2020, we'll see you with the rest of it. And now they're scrambling to do the old tungsten. Ooh, holy crap, that was the closest I ever come to smashing into a turkey. Wow, I thought I was going to nail him. That probably would have left a mark, that big sucker. So, I think it might be possible, maybe that they never anticipated doing the tungsten thing like as part of their plan. Maybe they didn't. And maybe right now they're realizing we got to do something because we don't have the gold. And we're pretending like everything's fine. We're lowering the price of precious metals on the exchange COMEX every single day to make people stop demanding delivery, to save our bullion bank friends. And again, it's still not working. I just read today, I think, in China, which this is maybe a couple days old news, but I read it today. China deliveries in gold have doubled. Again, it's leaving the West and going to the East, and we're pretending over here in the West because we set the price, and we pretend with our markets that all this paper gold we have out there on the exchange, that there's real gold backing it, same with silver, when in reality we all know there's not. So we have to continue to pretend all is fine. The Titanic's sinking, the deck's on the top of the table, everyone on top of the Titanic keeps sitting in them. The band's still playing as the ship is sinking, the water's up to the band's neck, and they're still playing. Everything's good. We're still setting the price. You don't want gold and silver, we're going to slam the price even more to show you that you don't want gold and silver, and simultaneously save our friends, the bullion banks, so that they don't have to deliver so much gold and silver, because that will stop people from wanting to demand delivery when the price goes down. But instead, people are still demanding delivery even more so. So it's still putting the stress on the bullion banks, and now we have a second bullion bank, Rabobank, who has now issued a statement to its clients stating that in September, you can no longer get delivery of your physical gold. You must now, from now till then, do something about it. Either get your gold now, or you will be settled again in paper. So that's two banks in 1 year, 2013. This has never been seen before. If you still think gold and silver are absolutely ridiculous, stupid ideas, you are going to be one of those people on the Titanic example I just gave, listening to the band play, drinking your beer, smoking your cigarettes, watching the football game at the same time. That was my text message. And the rest of us will be in a lifeboat made of gold and silver, with our piles of gold and silver sitting inside, waving bye to you, saying, I'm sorry. We told you so. Can't help you now. Take care.